I'm going to talk about something, and I'm going to talk about how to close a wound using crazy glue. And a lot of people wouldn't do this. This is about the exact same thing as Dermabond. It's the same, it's the same shit. It works. So I'm going to describe how to do it. I'm in no way saying that you shouldn't go to the vet. I'm just saying that on 3 different occasions in the last 15 years, a dog that I was with got a wound, and it was fucking around with another dog, and I closed it using this. So you do not put this in the wound, okay? That's not how you do it. I'll show you very clearly how you do it. But if you're going to do this, I have a like a first aid kit that I take with me everywhere with the dogs. And in that first aid kit, I have amoxicillin. So you wouldn't even want to attempt this unless you had antibiotics. So if your dog gets in a fight and it has a wound, you'll see that the skin of a dog, it's loose. It's not like ours. That's why you can give it fluids and it puffs up like a balloon. We don't do that. So if your dog gets a wound in the skin, it's like a tear and it like spreads apart, okay? So honestly, if you kept it real clean, say you had a wound like that long on your dog and like spread apart like that much, if you kept it real clean and it didn't get infected, it would heal, okay? And with that said, if you take it to the vet and the vet puts stitches in, it'll heal even faster, and the vet will give it antibiotics, so it'll help it heal quicker. And it's the same thing. If the wound is open, it can get dirt in there. It's nasty. So you can do the same thing, not the same thing, but it works. It's the same principle. It closes up, because the skin's loose. It like stretches it. And then you press it together and it closes it up. But you do not put the crazy glue in the wound itself. You put it on the side and then you fold the skin up, and that closes the wound. Now, the key is really you have to have antibiotics if you're going to do this. But say you're hunting in Montana or something, and there's you have 4 dogs and 2 of them get in a fight. One of the dogs gets hurt. This might help you. The closest vet might be 200 miles away. You could take care of it yourself. Look, if you're in Europe, you could go get antibiotics at the pharmacy, and there is nothing illegal about giving your dog or your pet antibiotics. There isn't. Not even in the United States. You can go to friends of mine that are vets are hating me right now, but you can go to feed stores and even get injectable antibiotics. The key is that you need to know the dosage. And I flip this back and forth like, should I even put this out? Listen, check the dosage, right, before you do anything, and be confident. If you don't feel confident, don't do this. But amoxicillin, it's milligram per kilogram. So for every kilogram of weight, you would give a milligram of amoxicillin. So if your dog weighed a kilogram is 0.45 of a pound. So figure it's like half of a pound. So just double the weight of the dog. So if your dog weighs 70 pounds, you would have to give it about 150 milligrams or 140 milligrams of amoxicillin. So keep in mind, I'm just putting this out here for education purposes. I'm not saying do this, but I've done this 3 times and it's worked successful each time. You can't do this in certain parts of the dog, right? If it has a rip in its ear, which by the way, rips in the ear are a pain in the ass. It is really a pain in the ass to deal with those things because when the dog shakes its head, it breaks it back open again. With an ear, you have to take it in to get stitched, or you have to keep it clean, and it will heal. It will heal. But I'm talking about like daily. I find myself with ear injuries. I haven't had one of those on a dog in so long, but I mean, years ago I had a dog that got some ear injuries, and it was a fucking pain in the ass. It was like every twice a day, I would be soaking the ear in really, really hot water, salty water, and sometimes I put a little Benadine in there, or Providine, and soak it in that, and then you pat it dry. But, so let's go back to, we're not talking about ears. Don't try and glue an ear closed. That's not going to work. You have to take it to the vet, and you probably should take, if your dog gets in a fight, take it to the vet. But you're looking at $700. I gotta go deal with the puppy. I'll be right back. Hang on. Okay, he's sort of being quiet. So, your dog gets in a fight. When your dog gets in a fight, check the dog. Right? It's weird. Like if it's a lab, you might not even see that it has a tear in its skin. So check it out afterwards, because a lot of times people don't notice until later. You have to, if you're going to go get sutures done on your dog, you have to do that day. You can't wait until tomorrow, or else they have to like kind of reopen it. It's screwed up. So check your dog after a fight and make sure everything's cool. And let's say that there's a cut in your dog and it's about that long, and it's probably spread about that much. So you want to close it up. So the first thing that you want to do is clean out the wound. You don't want to use hydrogen peroxide. Never use hydrogen peroxide on any type of wound. Hydrogen peroxide causes tissue damage. It is a no-no. Don't use it. My puppy's going crazy, and I'm just going to let him do it, and I'm just going to go through this. It's not going to matter. If you respond to the puppy when they do this, they just keep doing it. So this is the kind of stuff you have to put up with if you get a puppy. So don't use hydrogen peroxide ever. Use Benadine or Providine, mercurochrome, or iodine. Use something like that. Don't use rubbing alcohol either. That's no good. But hydrogen peroxide is the worst thing you can use on yourself or your dog. Don't do that. So flush out the wound. Now you're going to want to, if it's a long-haired dog, you have to shave the hair around it, around where you're going to use the crazy glue. After you shave it, right, and make sure when you're shaving it that you're not pulling the cut apart, right? So when you do that, be very careful and shave the area around it. After you shave it, you're going to want to flush it out again and use the Benadine, and don't, like I said, don't use paper towels. Use like gauze sterile pads. That should be in your kit for, if your dog has any injuries. You should carry this thing with you. So you flush it out. Now you make sure and the skin is real dry before you do this. And we're gonna use my hand to do this. Now the black line symbolizes where the tear in the skin is, and you see I put the crazy glue on each side, and then I fold it up together. Now it will bond to skin instantly. Here's the kicker. Don't do it on, don't even try this on anywhere where the skin has a lot of bends or anything. It won't, it'll just pop open, right? It will pop open, it won't work. Might hold it for a couple days or something, but once again, like if you have antibiotics, right, it would probably heal anyway. But in a pinch, if you're hunting or camping or something, put a tube of crazy glue in there. It might be someplace that's appropriate. An appropriate place to do it might be like on the top of the head. There's no movement really up there, right? It like around a joint or something when there's a lot of bending, it might not work so good. Even on the side, if you might give it a try on the side or something. So you essentially just kind of like pull the skin together like that. So you want to make sure that the cut or whatever is like in the valley of the like you make like a little taco, right? And the like that. So that's essentially what you're doing. You just want to make sure that this is in the valley of the taco, right? So you just kind of pinch it together, and it should hold. But it might pop open. So if you're worried about the way that your dog looks, right? If it's like a show dog, you're not going to want to do this. So, I have hunting dogs, and I care more about the behavior. I care about their health, don't get me wrong. The first time that I saw somebody do this was a veterinarian, and it works. It is effective. But really, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, don't do it. Drive the 200 miles to the doctor and spend the $700. You'll feel better than doing it and having a lot of anxiety. It's, look, I'm not a vet. I don't claim to be a vet. I'm just putting this out there. You do have the option of doing this, and it is something that could be helpful. So if there's any problems with your dog, the best person to diagnose these problems and to work on your dog is a vet, okay? But sometimes you can't get to the vet or something, and you have a first aid kit, you can do some of these things. So I really, like, if you're in Europe, go to the pharmacy, have some antibiotics, and if you're in the United States, you can buy the antibiotics from Europe and they'll send it here and it's totally legal. Or go to a feed store and see what kind of antibiotics they'll sell you. They probably have a wide variety. I know a feed store that has just about everything you want, from injectables to, like, whatever you want, you can pretty much get, and you can work on your own animal. There's nothing illegal about it, but if you don't feel comfortable doing it, don't do it.